Mr. Transformers 96 here from the video review. This time we have from the Marvel Legends, the Molten Man Build-A-Figure wave, Mysterio. This is the movie version from, of course, Spider-Man Far From Home. Very excited to get this figure. One of my most anticipated Marvel Legends of the year, I'd say. Just really anticipating Mysterio in the new film. I do plan to post this the day the movie comes out, so at the time of filming this I have not seen the movie, but I'm extremely excited to. So yeah, going over the box, pretty standard box. You got Spider-Man Far From Home logo there, Marvel's Mysterio. On the side you got some great artwork of Mysterio from the film, and then on the back you get that artwork expanded, and then the other figures in the wave. I do plan to get the majority of this wave. I'm skipping the regular Spider-Man in his new black and red costume because it doesn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece, and the figure just doesn't really interest me a whole lot. And I'm skipping the Spider-Woman. I was able to get her Build-A-Figure piece separate on eBay, and then I have the Black Stu kind of stealthy Spider-Man, Hydro Man, Doppelganger, and I've got those three also, and then I have Scorpion on the way. The day that I post this should be the day that Scorpion comes, so very excited to complete Molten Man. It looks like it's going to be a great Build-A-Figure. So yeah, so let's get into the actual Mysterio here. Going over his sculpt, very intricate and very unique. This is, of course, 100% a new sculpt, and considering this is a movie character, it makes sense that it is a new sculpt as well. Let's just get a close-up. Alright, onto the figure. So the head sculpt that he comes with is the dome, which I'm happy that he comes with the dome. However, I just wish that he had another head sculpt. If I had to pick one, though, a Jake Gyllenhaal head sculpt or the dome, to be honest, I'd pick the dome. The dome is just very iconic for this character, and I'm a big fan of him from the comics, so I would just be really disappointed if I didn't get that dome look. Nonetheless, I still want a Jake Gyllenhaal head sculpt. Jake Gyllenhaal is a big actor playing this character, and having a head sculpt for him would be super necessary, considering it looks like he spends a decent amount of the movie without the dome on. So it's a shame and a little surprising that we didn't get one. But hey, I mean, the same could be said about the last Spider-Man movie villain with the Vulture not getting the Michael Keaton head sculpt, because it's the same situation. I really like that helmet for Vulture, but big actor playing the villain, and I'd really love a head sculpt because he spends a lot of the movie without the helmet on, and yet we didn't get one. So same deal, unfortunately. But overall, he looks great. The dome itself has a gold kind of plating around the edges of the bottom. It's hard to tell which side is the front of it. To be honest, the way that mine came, it was reversed. It was like this. So this part was up at front. But just looking at the actual design of the edging around there, it seems like this should be the front. And I even looked it up on online to see what it actually looked like in the movie, and it doesn't really look like this pattern at all. Like, even as you can see with the artwork here, it's got a little piece that comes up towards the bottom, which really shows you where the dome is pointed and everything, but they didn't express that onto the figure, which is actually a big disappointment, to be honest. I would have liked that there, just to give you a better idea of where he is looking, because I think that anybody that just looks at the figure isn't going to quite know where he's supposed to be looking. It's going to be more like wherever you have him posed is kind of how he's looking, so I wish that they made it a little more accurate in that regard. The armor, though, looks really nice. Really well detailed, a lot of stuff going on there. I do like the kind of green effects that they've got going on. However, in the movie, these should be kind of like light up effects, and they should run down the sides of the abs too. You can see it in the picture over there as well. And they didn't really express that, unfortunately, so I wish that they made that a little bit more obvious as to the fact that they're supposed to be lights. The detailing in the arms, though, and legs and everything is fantastic. That line work is great. The little gauntlets, definitely like the way that they're sculpted. I think it's interesting how they have the joints going into the gauntlet too. I think that's smart. I'm glad that they did that and didn't just make it green, because usually when it comes to the joints, they just paint the joints one color, and if it doesn't match at a certain part, you know, that's just kind of too bad. But with this one, it does fully match, which is great. Really happy about that. Looking really good all the way down. I think that some of this very dull gold, or maybe like a dull copper, should be a little bit shinier, to be honest. From what I've seen in the movie, it looks like that shines a bit more, so I would have liked that expressed a bit, but it's not a huge issue. And then as far as the little clasp for the cape, they're very much his iconic kind of eye clasps. They look really weird. They're totally not cut evenly. They're very unsymmetrical, and they look like they've just been like hacked off. But I believe I did see a post saying that this was like an accurate look, to be honest. But I don't know. It's a very odd design. I almost wish they went a little more unaccurate just to make it decent looking, I'd say. His cape is, the way that it's like cut, it's designed is okay. I like it. I like the way that it doesn't flow out so much like the comic one, which I will be doing some comparisons with. But it also it has a bit of flair to it, which is nice. I like the way that the one side is flaring out in particular. You have some cool detailing on the back there, though. I do like the coloring of it. It's a bright metallic green, which is neat. But the inside is pretty basic, but overall looks decent. These kind of are actual lights in the movie. They're not just painted. But I feel like there's more detail on the cape in the movie than there is on this figure here, so would have liked some of that expressed as well, but not a big deal. Going over the comic version versus this new movie version. The comic one came out quite recent as well, so these are both pretty recent figures, and of course both the same character, just one's comic, one's movie. Again, like I said, I'm a big Mysterio fan. Mysterio is probably my second favorite Marvel character of all time. Carnage is just above him. I'm a big Spider-Man villain fan, as you can probably tell. But overall, I'm extremely excited to see him in the movie, and this new figure I think represents the movie version quite well. But as you can see, the old one is a great figure as well. That they do exactly what they should do. The comic one really represents him in the comics, and the movie version seems to really represent him in the movies. So I don't really have any complaints about either of these. I will say that there's a lot more detailing going on with the cape of the comic one, more so than the movie one, which I find odd. But there's a whole lot of detail going on with the movie one as far as the actual figure, his body, is concerned. So maybe they didn't want too much detail on the cape to conflict with that detailing on the body. But nonetheless, I think that they're both very cool. They both did the domes very differently. The one on the left, the comic version, has very much a clear dome that has like a kind of misty spray to it almost, so you can see inside of it, but you can't see very well. It's still got like a mist effect to it, and there is an actual head sculpt underneath that head underneath the dome for the comic one. While the movie one is it's a neat design. Like I like the kind of almost like a misty a pink or blue that they have in there, and then they have a couple like sparkle effects in it. It's a neat way to do it. However, it's not super accurate, but it's hard to make something that's accurate when it comes to this guy because he's got such a unique, design, but it should have smoke in there. What I would have liked to see them do with this movie version is something similar to the comic one, where the dome is translucent, but it has a bit of a hazy effect to it, and then instead of giving us a head sculpt, give us a head sculpt that's just smoke, so it's just a ball of smoke that goes around the dome, just so you can like see within inside of it a bit, so you can see the smoke within it, but it's a little hazy. I think that would have been a better route to go with, and something a little bit more accurate. However, the one that they did go with is cool. Don't get me wrong, I do like it, but I think that they could make it a bit more accurate, to be quite honest. Going over the articulation of this Mysterio, the head is on a ball joint as well as a hinge, so he can look down about this much, can look up about this much, and then of course side to side, and it does tilt pretty nicely. He's got ball hinge shoulders with a bicep swivel, double hinge elbows, which is really nice and really gives you a strong bend, even with the gauntlets, because of course, like I mentioned, the joints are kind of sculpted into the gauntlets as well. He's got hinge swiveling wrists, ball jointed upper torso, which has a nice range, as you can see, side to side a ton. It can go back about this much, and forward a decent amount. The forward doesn't go a whole lot, but the back and side to side work really nicely. Then he's got a ball jointed thighs, which kick up like fully, and then they kick out to the side quite a decent amount as well. He's got a swivel at the thigh, double hinge knees, and then hinge pivoting ankles. Overall articulation is pretty standard for Marvel Legends. Nothing's really hindered too much other than the moving forward on the ball jointed upper torso. That's the only thing that's got a bit of a hinge, or a bit of a limit to it, but not too much at all. Here he is with another figure from this wave. It's the stealth suit Spider-Man, which we have yet to see a marketing image of this suit of Spider-Man with Mysterio. However, the first time that we ever saw the Mysterio suit in the movie was from people just taking pictures of them shooting the film, and there is a scene where this Mysterio does come in contact with this version of Spider-Man, so we'll have to see where that is in the film. The only accessories that this Mysterio comes with are interchangeable hands, so he's got a pair of fists, so he's got a pair of kind of open hands using effect pieces basically, and then he's got a pair of fists. That's really the only portion of this figure that I think could be improved on, is the accessories. Like I mentioned, and like I'm sure everyone's going to mention, the biggest accessory that this guy really needs is a Jake Gyllenhaal head sculpt, that's for sure. But also, they could have done a little bit more than that, to be honest. I would have liked some effect pieces similar to what they did with Doctor Strange, where it's his kind of... because obviously Doctor Strange and Mysterio seem to have a very similar power set as far as how their power manifests. It comes out as kind of like almost symbols with like smoke around it type of thing. They gave us some for Doctor Strange. Really would have liked some for Mysterio, considering his are very unique to him, where it's like his eye symbols. So I would have liked to see at least one of those come with him to really show his power being expressed. And there's a lot of smoke that he could have come with. The comic version came with some smoke that could go around his feet. That would have been really cool with this guy as well. However, I do understand that this is a completely new sculpt. It's a very intricate sculpt, so and he comes with a Build-A-Figure piece, so I understand just from a budget expense, like, why he doesn't come with all that. But it would be really cool if they do some sort of deluxe Mysterio in the future that comes with a Jake Gyllenhaal head sculpt, some smoke effect pieces, and some actual like magic effect pieces as well. That would be really cool. But yeah, overall, I'm incredibly excited for the new movie. Can't wait to see it myself, and I hope this guy is awesome. I think it's very clear that he is the villain, just because Mysterio is a villain, period. You know, he's never a hero. So I'm very much excited to see him in this film. It's so cool to see this guy in such a big role. I've been a fan of Mysterio since I was a little kid, so it really is mind-blowing that I'm finally going to get to see him on the big screen, played by a well-known actor, and he is a villain that seems to be very much focused on in the movie too. He's not just like your standard villain, which is cool. So yeah, very much looking forward to seeing him in the film. Really loving this figure, and I will be doing some more reviews of the wave. I'm certainly going to be ranking this wave, and I'll definitely do a review of Molten Man. But if you want any other characters in the wave review, just let me know, and thanks so much for watching.